You've spoken of an apocalypse or global upheaval predicted by the entities, particularly after you had an Easter encounter in 2019.
Right.
What specific warnings or timelines have they shared? And before you answer this question, I just say to people out there, there's so much misreporting.
Yeah.
So you're about to say what you've been told. I've done something similar recently. I recently said that people have talked to me about 2027, and I noticed social media exploded with Coulthart says apocalypse, doomsday coming in 2027. Right. And it's so funny because all I'm doing as a journalist is reporting what people are telling me. I have no way of knowing if it's true or not. I'm just a journo. You purport to be able to communicate with these non-human beings or whatever they are, gods, beings. What are they telling you about apocalyptic events?
What they told me, and again I put this in writing back in 2012, I handed it to Timothy Taylor, which he took to NASA, to the Pentagon. That's how the chain of command went. In that, I told him about the orbs and the drones and the rockets. I didn't say drones, but the orbs and the missiles, which just happened. And we talked about all the other things that they told me. One of them was, they didn't say it was an apocalypse, that's funny. What she said was, there will be, when we see Israel and Iran doing their thing and the orbs begin to appear, from that point forward, they're going to begin to awaken the people, and there was no stopping it. And if we went to war, they would stop it.
So you believe from what you've been told, which obviously you can't know for sure, you're only being told this, but you believe from what you're being told that the entities, the beings, are going to intervene to stop us from killing ourselves.
They did that during November, on television.
And disclosure of the fact of a non-human intelligence.
It'll come next year.
You believe next year?
I'm sure. I feel sure. I think the government has got to. They have no choice. Because my book clearly states what Chris said, is the lady explained to me that in April of 26, there would be an alignment where this star, which is a blue star, of Regulus appears on the horizon in front of the Sphinx, and it would be red.
And you know what? This is right.
That's what she said.
I've actually spoken to astronomers. This is the phenomenal thing about this.
Yeah, and she said it'll be red. And when that happens, it would mark a shift into a new knowledge, not an apocalypse. That's what she told me. It doesn't mean Jesus is coming back. There's a new knowledge that's coming. What is that? Is it under the pyramids they've discovered something? Is it the Hall of Records? Is it disclosure? December, November, is Iran was firing rockets into Israel. Orbs appeared everywhere. The military freaked and sent up drones to muddy the water.
So you think that's a cover-up? I mean, I must confess,
100%.
We did 2 specials on News Nation about those supposed drones.
They were ours.
There were
I know
some
for
of ours.
sure they were ours.
I'm pretty sure some were ours, but there were definitely, I spoke to somebody this morning, a police officer in New Jersey.
Right.
And he said, I don't believe the government when it says these are just confused, people are just confused, they saw aircraft. He said, I know what they were anomalous. They
were anomalous. They were not. In fact, the drones were ours. I know they were. For one, a fan called me and said, you won't ever believe what just happened. He had a video of this drone hovering over his house, right? It had the little appendages sticking out, it's blinking. The same ones you see stuff falling out of. He pulls a laser out and shines it on it. 30 minutes later, the FBI comes to his house and charges him. He's being charged with a federal charge right now for shining a light on a drone. He's like, you didn't say what it was. They said it's illegal to shine a light on any aircraft.
And yet the Federal Transportation Secretary, General Glenn Van Herk, the former head of Northcom NORAD, the current serving general in charge of NORAD, everybody's basically saying they're still mystified by whatever these objects were.
There were orbs. And what happened? I told this in writing to Tim Taylor and NASA and the whole group. When you see the missiles, the orbs are going to appear, and they're going to appear to the people. Well, what happened? Here they come. And then the government freaks out. Oh my God. They pulled the plug, de-escalated the fight, the orbs went away, the Johns went away.
Suffering from debilitating Crohn's disease.
Right.
You're saying it was cured after that night?
Yeah, it went away. And I had it for almost 18 years. And I went back to my doctor. I even went to Chapel Hill. He sent me to Chapel Hill, North Carolina to find out because I developed RA after
What's RA, sorry?
rheumatoid arthritis. In
Yeah.
2009, I was diagnosed with that. Where Gary Nolan said, well, it was just a reprieve. In other words, your Crohn's went into remission and your RA came back as RA. So we went to Chapel Hill and we ran all the tests. And the RA was totally separate. There is no marker that it came from the Crohn's. The Crohn's is not even there.
So you do have, I was going to ask you this, you do have confirmation from doctors, medical
Yes.
records, medical evidence to prove that your Crohn's disease completely disappeared.
Yeah. See, Iran and Israel exchanging missiles, and I saw it. The way she tells me is a vision of, I see it like a living picture screen. I could see the rockets flying. Then all of a sudden, orbs appeared out of the ocean and everywhere because of the way I reported it, right?
So you were taken by a tic tac.
Yeah, I reported a 45, 50-foot egg laying on its side. It started out as a red glowing ball of fire, but when it came down to the ground, it was a white glowing egg laying sideways, and it pivoted and flew over me. And when I reported that, David Fravor was just out tracking the thing up and down the North Carolina coast, and it came in 60 miles where I was, and the rest is history.
One of the things you talk about, and I find this fascinating because again, this huge increase in sun activities, sun-solar activity. You talk about something called the sun flash that you've been told about. What have you been told about a future sun flash?
Yeah, I never talk about this because it's scary stuff and I don't like to talk about it. But one thing I can say, I'm not sure if what I saw was the future or the past. But what I did see, and this was very beginning when they first took me in '04 on the virtual tour, part of that virtual tour was Egypt, the other part was over America. And we were up somewhere over the Midwest, and I saw the sun swell in the sky until it engulfed the whole sky. It was just all sun, and then it flashed. When it flashed, the lights went out. But then I saw the earth, the water from the side of the Pacific side of the ocean evaporate up into the sky. This is what I was seeing, which made the earth lopsided, and it stopped. And then all of a sudden it started back the other way, and this wall of water came over the whole United States, and just devastation. But was that what killed the dinosaurs? Was that from the past, or is that from the future?
And so how did you see this? You used the word see. Did you see a visual representation of it?
I saw it like watching TV.
And was this on a craft, on a screen in the craft?
It was like seeing it through the walls. It was in some sort of bubble. It felt like the walls were clear. I couldn't see them, but I could touch them.
Yeah.
But looking through those, I'm looking down at Egypt, or I'm looking up at the sun.
And the thing I find fascinating is it's not just you that's having these experiences. All of your family have had these encounters.
Yep, all of them. Ever since I brought it home.